Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to Dr. Ahmad and my fellow classmates. Today our group 3 consists of me, myself, Nurin, Asmida, Binti, Bakhtier, Affendy, matric number 2011994, together with my group members, Sister Wan Nurin Hanan, Sister Afiqah Rashdey, Brother Zahrul Aizat and Brother Mohamed Syakir will be presenting on the topic of the role and contributions of IIUM in empowering the Ummah. Our presentation today will be divided into 3 core discussions, which are the introduction, analysis, and conclusion. We'll begin with the first section that mainly focuses on the background of IIUM, in which the discussion will be encompassing the history of IIUM's establishment, the philosophy of IIUM, as well as the mission and vision of IIUM. Then we will examine on the role being portrayed by IIUM in the effort to empower the Ummah, and subsequently the contributions made by IIUM. And lastly, as a conclusion, we will recap and summarize the major key points mentioned throughout the presentation as a takeaway idea. For over 37 years, IIUM principles have led to the development of IIUM and its population, as well as IIUM reputation around the world. IIUM was founded under ideals that are unique and unparalleled to other academic institutions. IIUM was established under the guidance of noble philosophy, vision and mission, and educational goals stemmed from the spirit of Iqra and based on Quran and Sunnah. IIUM demand that education be seen as a religious as well as social responsibility rather than a mere business venture. The entire management of IIUM academic programs is geared towards developing the Ummah and treating the members of staff, students, and the whole community as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's creation. Therefore, today our group will be critically reviewing on the roles and contributions initiated by this garden of knowledge and virtue in empowering the Ummah. We'll start off with the history of IIUM's establishment. The decision to establish the International Islamic University of Malaysia was made known by the former 4th Prime Minister of Malaysia, Datuk Seri Dr. Mahathir Mohamed, on 12 January 1982 as a result of the aspirations of Islamic scholars in Malaysia to create an Islamic university in our country that will lead Muslims in all fields of knowledge. The concept paper for the establishment of International Islamic University Malaysia was then approved by the Prime Minister and the Malaysian Cabinet under the supervisions of the Minister of Education at that time, Dr. Sulaiman Daud. Subsequently, a steering committee was set up to coordinate the establishment of IIUM, and Professor Dr. Arifin Suhaimi of the University of Pertanian was appointed by the Minister of Education to be the coordinator of the project. The 13th Organizations of Islamic Cooperation Islamic Foreign Ministers meeting held in Niamey, Niger, endorsed Malaysia's proposal for the establishment of the International Islamic University in Malaysia. Several countries from the OIC agreed to co-sponsor the establishment of IIUM. Lastly, on 10th May 1983, the International Islamic University Malaysia, popularly known as IIUM, was officially established and obtained its establishment order from His Majesty the Yang di-Pertuan Agong. I'll pass on to the next presenter to discuss on the philosophy as well as the vision and mission of IIUM.
Alright, moving on to the next part, which is we will talk about the IIUM philosophy. So, apparently, the philosophy of the university is built upon the belief that knowledge must be pursued as an ibadah, which is we can also known as continuous worship, and also the amanah, which is a trust which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed upon mankind. The knowledge thus pursued should lead toward the recognition of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as the absolute creator, cherisher, and also even sustainer of the universe. This total and also uncompromising recognitions of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as the Lord of the world, which is Rabbul Alameen, represent the effects in the hierarchy of knowledge. This philosophy is based on the first 5 verses of Surah Alaq, which is the 96th surah or even a chapter in which it was in Al-Quran, and also it was incorporated in the constitution of IIUM. These 5 verse emphasize that it is an indisputable fact that knowledge must be acquired, internalized, and also disseminated in the name of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. And that this knowledge should be acquired through the pen and also intellect, or even through a divine revelation. Knowledge based upon the harmony of revelation and reason would surely elevate men to a position of honor and also high status. Knowledge acquired through human reasoning to the neglect of revelations would be incomplete, and also it just would not be beneficial to the mankind.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Hanan, and now I will continue on the visions of IIUM. So here I attach the pic of IIUM Vision from the official website of IIUM. So I want to highlight here that IIUM goals is to produce Islamic leaders among the graduates who come from all walks of life and various backgrounds. IIUM also provides the best education system in terms of the system is comprehensive, conclusive, effective, and systematic system. So IIUM also had created an international center which consists of graduates from many countries for them to exchange their knowledge about their Islam or about anything about their culture as well. Moreover, IIUM focuses on the development of an Islamic integrity where IIUM upholds the Islamic values and to instill the Islamic morals to their graduates for them to be a better leaders, Islamic leaders in Islam, as well as for their future betterment. So I will pass to the next presenter. Thank you.
Next, I will explain about on my part of International Islamic University Malaysia's mission. Okay, the summary of the mission that we can say is that integration, Islamization, internationalization, and comprehensive excellence. So what can we brief of that summary is that IIUM encouraged to nurture the quality of holistic excellence imbued with Islamic moral spiritual values in learning, teaching, research, consultancy, publication, administrations, and student life. IIUM also the mission is also to enhance the intercultural understanding and foster civilizations dialogues in Malaysia as well as across communities and nations. And it also to promote the concept of Islamizations of human knowledge in teaching or research or consultancy or disseminations of the knowledge. So to exemplify of an international community of dedicated intellectuals, scholars, professionals, officers, and staff motivated by the Islamic worldview and code of ethics as an integral part of their work culture. So IIUM missions also to develop an environment which instills commitment for lifelong learning and a deep sense of social responsibility among staff and students. So it is to undertake the special and greatly needed task or reforming contemporary Muslim mentality and integrating Islamic. So and it also to produce a better quality intellectuals, professionals, and scholars of distinction by integrating the quality of as what we know, and here integrating the quality of faith, which is iman, knowledge, which is al-ilm, and the good character, which is akhlaq. So that's a brief of IIUM's mission.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to the analysis section. And to begin with, we'll first touch on the role of IIUM in empowering the Ummah. The first role that we are going to explore is producing high-quality graduates who are knowledgeable, skillful, holistic, balanced, and competent, as well as possessing Islamic moral spiritual values. One of IIUM's educational goal is to nurture graduates who are balanced and harmonious, echoing the concept of insan sejahtera as stipulated in the Falsafah Pendidikan Kebangsaan, crafted on values-based, holistic, and integrated education for sustainable development. Apart from academic excellence, IIUM ensures that its students are trained to become individuals with a high level skills as well as lifelong learning, and strongly emphasized on the building of virtue or good morals as part of the learning process to ensure that students have a good personality. This effort is in line with the teachings of Islam, which highlights on the construction of noble morals. In the process of attaining the goal, IIUM has entrenched a holistic education framework, namely Sejahtera Academic Framework or SAF, to prepare individuals with Islamic attitudes and values through transformative and values-based educational initiative. The Sejahtera Academic Framework is IIUM's articulation of humanizing education in the post-pandemic and post-materialistic era, where humanizing education is the enterprise of knowing and glorifying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and seeking knowledge and putting it to the beneficial use in the society for the achievement of Rahmatan lil Alamin. In the spirit of humanizing education in the IIUM mold, the tagline of the university must reflect the characteristics of the community in the institution. Every graduate and staff of IIUM must strive to become a balanced person or insan sejahtera who is a servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that is physically, emotionally, spiritually, intellectually, environmentally, and socially balanced by acquiring the following attributes of Khalifah, Amanah, Iqra, Rahmatan lil Alamin, or Khair, Fatanah, Amanah, Siddiq, Tabligh, Fast, and Murabi, which is a sincere person who strives to nurture spirituality, emotions, intellect, and behaviors for the better. The notion of insan sejahtera through Saf strives for the limitation of fasad or destruction and achievement of equilibrium as represented by the idea of sustainable development, the promotion of the 5 Ps, which are peace, people, planet, property, and partnership. In a nutshell, education in IIUM, both formal and informal, support one another in a holistic manner towards nurturing insan sejahtera. Next, I'll pass on to the other presenter to explain further on the second goal.
Alright, in continuing the discussion of the role of IIUM specifically in empowering the Ummah, it is the second role that it is undisputable fact that IIUM is a platform to develop and also instill Islamic values among the internal community of IIUM and the external community through the project of community engagement. This context we can see and also we can find in certain examples. For example, the first one, it was displayed in IIUM Islamic Transformation Center or IIUM ITC. Basically, IIUM ITC is for the purpose of promoting activities based on Islamic principle under one roof. There are certain values, there are certain activities, especially in towards the fulfilling the aims of IIUM ITC. Among them are they will provide financial funds to the society based on Islamic guidance without riba, gharar, and also mashir, which it is usually uncertainty and also gambling. The second thing that they will emphasize on healthy and also halal food taken by the society. And the last one, IIUM ITC is really focused, or even we can say the focal point of IIUM ITC is the education is important to educate the society. To further discussing this issue, it is a second example that IIM itself is humanizing education for Rahmatan lil Alamin and the Sejahtera. It is when the the competency model, which is designed to enhance further community engagement based on desired behavioral priorities and also values, using the core domains that mirror the insan sejahtera attributes that were one of the model and also one of the key values to the sejahtera philosophy.
So now I will continue on the third role, which is to cultivate leadership among the students or graduates. So at the Center for Foundation Studies level, there are a unit called Leadership and Training Unit (LTU), where its aims is to develop holistic students by providing efficient leadership and training program at the same time provides professional advisory support for co-curricular activities at the center. So under this unit, there are many programs conducted by for the purpose of presentation, I will just mention two of the programs, which are SCC and NetLead. So the first one, SCC, which is Nomination and Selection of Student Coordination Committee. This committee comprises of the CFS students itself, and its objective is to assist all the CFS students in regards of their academic matters as well as their well-being during their studies at CFS. So move on to the second program, which is Management Course of Student Leaders, which called NetLead. So this program is usually can be found at the Mahalah level, and it is organized by Council of Principals in collaborating with Student Affairs Division or STAT of IIUM. So the nature of this program is to inculcate the leadership values towards the members of Mahalah Representative Committee, or can be known as MRC. So these two programs introduce a leadership values and to inculcate leadership morals to the members of committees. So now I shall pass the presentation to the next presenter.
All right, next for the fourth role, which is offers a conducive ecosystem which support initiative related to transformative teaching and learning, responsible research and innovation, high-touch community engagement, and global relevance. All right, to explain this for a brief, okay, educational outcomes are measurable not just by academics achievement, but also by access to schooling, participations and completions rates, and successful transitions to employment or further study. So this is what we call the offers conducive ecosystem, which support initiatives related to transformative teaching and learning or responsible research and innovation for the global relevance. So one of the example that we can see in International Islamic University Malaysia is that IIUM Islamic Transformation Center, which or shall be known as IIUM ITC. So it promoting activities based on Islamic principles under one roof. For example, it provide financial fund to the society based on Islamic guidance without riba. And second is emphasize on healthy and halal food taken by the society. And the last one is education is important to educate society.
Okay, so the fifth role of IIUM is humanizing education through Maqasid Syariah and sustainable development goals. So actually this role is one of the strategic direction of IIUM roadmap 2001 to 2022. And what is Maqasid Syariah? Maqasid Syariah is actually the principle in Islam that the protection of five items. The first one is safeguarding of faith or al-din, protection of human self, nafs, protection of intellect, protection of lineage, and protection of wealth. So these sustainable development goals must be complied with Makasih Syariah. So how? One of the initiatives taken by IIUM so far is actually there is a lot, but one of it is by introducing subject UNGS 1201 uh, uh, subject sustainable development issues, policies and practices. And under this subject, students will be introduced with all the goals under SDG as laid down by the United Nations and how these goals will be fitted with market Sharia, because the uh, the most crucial part that was not included or not stressed out by United Nations in SDGs is spiritual aspect. So it is a role of IIUM to in humanizing education through Makasih Syariah and sustainable development goals through this subject UNGS.
We'll now continue with the second part of the analysis section, which is the contributions of IIUM in empowering the Ummah. And the first contribution that we'll discuss is on how the intellectuals, professionals, and scholars from IIUM acts as a social agents to address societal challenges. Although IIUM started as a small institution, it has always dreamed big. Almost 4 decades since its establishment, IIUM has been offering academic programs that are of high quality and achieve the international standards, as well as equip the student with necessary skills to face the outside world. IIUM alumni have gone on to work in prominent positions across the globe to be respected academics, social activists, and to be the pillars of society. As we have mentioned before about the graduate qualities in the first part of the analysis, now we'll come across the term budiman, which is the manifestations of the attributes of fast. Budiman is a balanced person with courtesy, polite, good manners, hardworking, has high discretion, maturity, and wisdom in making a decision, most devoted and selfless. A budiman is the altruistic embodiment of insan sejahtera who displays courage and wisdom in his or her actions, acts as the agents of change and leader of the Ummah, and has the trait of giving to others. Essentially, these attributes speak to the nature of insan sejahtera who affect change and advancement in humanity via the knowledge, wisdom, and skill sets that they possess. He or she contributes to promote rahmatan lil alamin by doing good. And insan sejahtera who are budiman aim to do good and will do good to all people regardless of creeds and to do good for all the worlds. IIUM graduates, former lecturers, and staff have seeded influential effort that have made significant contributions to Malaysian society. One of a good example is the International Sharia Academy for Research in Islamic Finance, or namely known as ISRO. The majority of its staff have previously either studied or taught at IIUM. One of ISRO's achievements was the plan it produced to set up a Sharia-compliant investment fund for the Employees Provident Fund, or EPF, which enable millions of Muslims to choose a method of investing their funds in a way that allows them to retain the entire payout upon retirement, and without a choice, they would have to purify a significant portion of it by giving it away. Another landmark intellectual achievement is ISRA's scheme for Wakaf Suku, which has attracted the interest of international institutions like the Islamic Development Bank and the World Bank. ISRA has also produced a string of well-received textbooks that are used extensively in Malaysian universities as well as abroad, having been translated into Arabic, Indonesian, and Turkish, among other languages. ISRA's advisory work to government and institutions seeking guidance on how to implement Islamic finance in their countries is also another contributor to Malaysia's international reputation. Now and in the future, IIUM graduates should continue to make waves and pave the way as leaders for positive change and advancement in our society, in addition to their areas of expertise. Next, I'll pass on to the other presenter to further elaborate on the second contribution.
The second contributions that IIUM lead towards the empowering of the Ummah is IIM itself provide excellent and also accessible educational facilities, high quality learning, and also working environment. This can be portrayed in the example of the establishment of the SU, coincides that with the directive from the Ministry of Higher Education to establish such a unit as stated in phase 2 of the action plan to improve teaching and also learning of disabled students at institutions of higher learning. The action plan consists of four strategic objectives, which is, I can say, the first one is accessibility and also support system for teaching and learning. Number 2 is enhancement of quality of life. Number 3, creation of disabled-friendly environment and surveys. And the last one is career development program for disabled students. The second related contributions that I can say among the example of this context is IIM disability inclusions policy. The objective of the policy are as follows: that to fulfill the protect the right and also students and staff with disabilities to get full access to the teaching and also learning systems, work environment and also campus life. The second one is to enhance the competitiveness of students and staff with disabilities in a holistic manner. Number 3, to coordinate the management of students and also staff with disabilities at all levels at university administration. And the last one, it was focused to increase awareness on the right of persons with disabilities among campus citizens.
Thank you for the explanation. So now we move on to the third contribution of IIUM. So IIUM also contributes on the benefits of the external community of IIUM by organizing community engagement projects. So in February 2015, IIUM established University Center for Community Engagement called UDI, placed under the rector to spread its wings to engage not only the students but also the staff outside communities, whether it is inside or outside Malaysia, in its community service activities and engagement programs. So, Budi had conducted a program named Peduli Asli, which its aims is to contribute to the preservation of orang asli, culture, values, and inspire and urge orang asli youngsters to enjoy school. So as we know, orang asli cannot enjoy most of the benefits that we can enjoy because of their limitations as well as the shortage of the suitable accommodation that we have now. So among the benefits that Aborigines can attain from the IIUM volunteers and staff, they can learn some knowledge and skills from the volunteers. For example, the kids of the Aborigine can learn mathematics or science and as well as the modern knowledge that we have now. And in exchange, the students that involved in this program also can learn and adopt positive values practiced by orang asli, such as the handicraft, as well as handicraft which is benefits for the society, as well as the survival tips where they are in suburbs. So, other than that, IIUM Titin Wahyu Club also had conducted a project named It's Not Okay to Be Hungry. So this project was collaborated with Restaurant Al Habib in Kuala Lumpur. So this program involved the students itself, Restaurant Al Habib, which provides food for the homeless people and the homeless people itself in Kuala Lumpur. So the aim of this project is to help the homeless by providing food for them and to ensure their well-being is preserved. So the event took place on 3 times, which are on 1 October, 29 October, and 27 November 2021. So there are so many benefits that IIUM had contributed, and among them is they had contributed to the external communities of IIUM. So everyone of the society can benefit all the benefits that we have right now. So I will pass the presentation to the next presenter. Thank you.
Next, the fourth contribution is conduct various research for the development of Ummah. All right. The Ummah or Muslim community is a group of people from diverse backgrounds, ancestry, locations, and nationalities. As you can see, in International Islamic University Malaysia, we have a diversity of students, right? So they are a community without borders, yet united in a very real way. So though separated by distance and often constrained by borders, but they are still united. So they are one nation or community united under the guidance of the one God. So in line with the research goals of the International Islamic University Malaysia and to meet the increased demand for expertise in research, training and consultancy in areas of everything, including in every area, including one of the example that I can say is maybe in the economics. So, and it is related areas as well as economics and development related policy studies. So there is a need to establish a dedicated formal entity that can meet this demand both at the national and international level. So hence, expanding the contributions of the KENMS to a wider audience in one of the design and technical areas of the IIUM. So, for example, like Islamic economics and related areas. So furthermore, the center will also assist the nation produce and train professionals and support research and consultancy that attempts to integrate ethics and economic space on the visions and missions of the IIUM. So that is a brief explanations about the conduct various research for the development of Ummah in contributions of IIUM. So where the university aims at becoming a leading international center of educational excellence which seeks to restore the dynamic and progressive role of the Muslim Ummah in all branches of knowledge and intellectual discourse.
Okay, so the last contribution or the fifth contribution of IIUM is implement various concepts of Islamization in every aspect. So as in the previous discussion, one of IIUM's mission is to promote the concept of Islamization on human knowledge in teaching, research and consultancy, and dissemination of knowledge. And the concept of Islamization actually was made as a policy in IIUM. If I can read the policy statement number 3, IIUM shall encourage, promote, propagate, and implement the mission of integration, Islamization through teaching and learning, research and publication, international and Ummah collaboration, alumni networks, and humanitarian activities in assisting Muslim communities around the world to overcome their educational, economic, social, cultural, and political problems and challenges. Okay, so the first example of how IIUM implement the concept of Islamization is by the compulsory Islamic worldview courses to all students in the university, regardless of their specialization. And the goal is for every student who graduates from IIUM to have a basic understanding of the worldview's basic, as well as the Islamic ethics and morality, and to fulfill the responsibility of Fardu Ain in the Islamic education system. And UNGS core courses have influenced students to inculcate the fundamental values which are taught, and this causes them to become more active and motivated to devote and give back to society. And soft skills such as communication, problem solving, teamwork, motivation, and leadership is highly emphasized through specific evaluation methods in these courses, and students will learn about themselves, their creator, and the Holy Quran as a guide in their lives, the Prophet Muhammad as a source of morals and character, virtues to be practiced, wrongdoings to be avoided, and much more from these causes. So the second example is, I would say, double degree program. Yes, this program actually not only available for ICOL, it's also applicable to other courses. But since I am a law student or ICOL student, so I will try to stress what was actually this double degree program in ICOL. So yes, this program actually to produce a law graduates that understand Islamic law and civil laws. Students who pursues a Bachelor of Laws Sharia will extend their study for 1 year to complete all Sharia law courses. So the effect is it will produce a future Sharia advocate, judges, and etc. that understand well both civil and Sharia law. And also for those who are not pursue LLBS, only pursue LLB, also learn the same, it's quite same Sharia laws, even though you are not a LLBS student, but in English. So we can achieve the objective, which is producing law graduates that understand both Islamic law and civil law. As for conclusion, I would say that IIUM has played significant roles in contributing to the Ummah in every aspect of life. And the approaches taken by IIUM, as from the whole discussion, we already present the roles and contribution. So these approaches should be taken and followed by another educational institution. The vision and missions of IIUM had been established throughout this discussion, and I would say the IIUM leads the way is real. It is not just a song of IIUM, but the how IIUM implement this phrase into the actual framework was actually happened. So we should proud of being an IIUM community. And that's all from us. Thank you.